You're listening to Real Investor Radio with Craig Fuhr and Jack Bevere, where we cover advanced real estate investing topics to help you stay ahead of the curve in your real estate investing business. One that they'll have to watch. All right, we are recording. Welcome back to Real Investor Radio. It's Craig Fuhr with Jack Bevere. Jack, good to see you again. So we just had a great episode with Tarry Summers from Ohio Home. He's in the Columbus market. I'd encourage everyone to go back and listen to that first episode first as we jump into the second one here. Terry, welcome back to the show, man. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey, there you go. Give us 2 fingers up. Got to keep them there for a second. For those not watching, Terry's in the fun room.
Every time I do a peace sign, balloons pop up. It's amazing.
This guy has such an aura that he just puts his fingers up and balloon and multicolored balloons appear all around him.
I did just have my 38th birthday, so that maybe it was for that. I don't know.
38. Thanks for keeping us in check with how old I am. All right, man. Well, welcome back to the show. It's good to have you, Jack. We ended the last episode. You wanted to talk about some of the really cool stuff that Terry has done to grow his tribe on both social media, with the podcasts and otherwise. So let's go ahead and jump in.
I mean, something that I think that each business owner, regardless of what business you're in, needs to figure out is like their approach to lead generation and building the business, building a network of people. And, people have different personalities, they have different strengths, they have different weaknesses. And so I think that, you need to find something that, frankly, that, it sounds cheesy, but that works for you, right? Because as we mentioned in that last episode, consistency is what matters, not necessarily like, it's not that it's the fanciest content or whatever, or but it's that it's consistent. And so I feel like people's lead generation and business development efforts, they often will like listen to a podcast or something and someone will be like, you need to be on social media, or you need to be sending letters, or you need to send out a newsletter with high quality content or whatever, right? Like, and they'll be like, and that's the secret, right? Like that's the secret sauce right there, is because I do this strategy. And I completely disagree. I don't care what your strategy is. Frankly, if you do it every day, it'll eventually be successful. And so as a result of that, you need to find something that your personality is going to be willing to do every day, right? If you are an introverted person, and you're like, hey, you know what? Networking events are the thing for me. You're going to fail, right? Because you don't like to go to networking events. So I think that finding that right fit is really important. And something that I've always been like really excited to talk to Terry about is that his personality is very different than mine. And he has a completely different set of tools that he uses, but he exercises those tools with consistency, and it works for him. And I wanted to dig into the things that you've done to build your network, and that those things that you've done with consistency over time, and just what your approach has been.
Yeah, man. Number one, this took me a long time to get the hell over, but like, we're all different. Every time we hang out, Jack, we talk for hours, man, just because we are different, right? But like, whoever you are, just be you, like Alex Hormozy, okay, is probably the driest dude on planet Earth, but people love him. I love him, but like everything he says is factual and, but he's dry as hell. I don't know. He's like, hanging out in real life, but whoever it is that you are, like, be you. Like, if you love nerding out on data, dude, nerd out on data. If you love nerding out on, what's my response rate on this direct mail piece, and I'm going to change it to a red card instead of a yellow card. Cool. Then that's what you do. If you love being out and about and networking with people, and then do that. I just have found that just do what you're great at, and just make sure you surround yourself with other people that are, quite frankly, better at the stuff that you suck at. And if you do that, then you're going to have fun in your business, right? Which is, to me, that should be a core value. Like, you got to have fun doing what you're doing, or else why in the hell are you doing it? You're going to make money because you're having fun, and you're going to want to work harder at it too. So for me, like, I'm not like on the guru train. I hate people that they're trying to, constantly pitch you this and, hey, you got to use my product and pitch you that. But one of the things I realized is if I can get a small tribe of people as I continue my journey in real estate, that these are people that I know, I've trained them. I know that I can lend them money. I know I can JV on deals with them. I know that they're going to, um, I'm going to be a big supporter of them. It's like the whole ecosystem, man. Like you have lenders, you've got the buy and hold, you've got flippers, you got wholesalers, and we all need each other in this ecosystem, man. So generally, people will start off wholesaling, then they graduate and go into flipping, then they want to start owning assets, and then eventually you want to be like Jack and be the bank. So but throughout that whole ecosystem, we all need each other, right? So, whether, you need deals, cool. You need the wholesalers. Yeah, if you're wholesaling deals, you need the buy and hold guys. If you're doing anything, you need the lender. The lenders, you need great operators. So I don't know, man. For me, it's like I'm trying to create this small ecosystem of people to where, hey, you pay a small monthly fee, you join my community. I give you access to every document, every script, every phone call, anything I've ever done in business. You have it in a Dropbox folder. Every lease, every document, everything. And then we're going to do a call every Wednesday. So every Wednesday at 4 o'clock, we get on a call, and every other week we do a community call. So we talk what I call pains and gains, because people need to share their wins so they don't feel like they're constantly being beat up. At the same time, you need to like talk about, hey, this is where I suck right now. What about this? Should I do this? A lot of times it's quite frankly mindset issues and limiting beliefs. Like, oh man, I got these 2 deals, but I can't raise the money. I'm like, dude, I just introduced you to 3 different hard money partners. Well, I got to come up with a down payment. Dude, that's your mindset. How many people out there have 50 grand laying in an IRA account? Millions, I'm sure. So like a lot of it's limiting beliefs, but on that call, we try to crush those. And then every other call, we bring on like a topic expert, whether it's a 1031 person, a lender, um, you know, uh, whoever, man, whoever's going to be most helpful for the group. And then these guys get access to me in real time. So there's a Facebook group that I put together where they're like, hey, I'm thinking about this. Cool. And what that's done for me too is it's eliminated coffees, beers, dinners, lunches, all that BS that we get bombarded with. And I'm like, hey, cool, you're interested in real estate. Okay, great. Go ahead and join my community. Love to have you in there. And that kind of eliminates all that other nonsense that we all put up with because everyone wants to do coffees and lunches and all that stuff. So it helps kind of just I don't know minimize the BS too.
Super
That was a
interesting to me.
long-winded of what I'm doing.
No, that's awesome,
That's
man.
fine.
No, that's exactly what I wanted to hear about. What so like explain to me the logistics of it, right? Like I'm a super details guy, obviously. So like mechanically, like how are you running that? Like do you have someone helping you keep that organized? Are these webinars each week and you're sending out Zoom invites and it's like a private link? How do you prepare the content? How much time does it take you to prepare for these meetings? Like what are the mechanics of running that style of group work, or how's that work?
Can I but before you answer the question, I've had quite a bit of did a deep dive into the whole guru thing, and what I found is that I had a real tolerance. I had a lack of tolerance for people who said they were going to do stuff, tire kickers, newbies, and so I wonder what your philosophy is on, that inner circle of folks that you want to have around you in this group. As you answer
Yeah,
Jack's question,
yeah. So I called it scalers only. One, because no one took the word scalar yet, and now it's like the most scale is like the most overused word in the space now. It's like you got to scale. But scaling means different things. Scaling could be scaling back to have a different lifestyle, which is what I'm currently doing.
sure.
So I make that very, very clear, but I make it very clear too. If you've done 1 or 2 deals, this is not the group for you. This is a group that if you've got at least 10 deals under your belt and you want to go to 100 units and beyond, this is the group for you. Um, Preparing. So what I do is I prepare like a month in advance. So on our topics, I'll figure out what the group needs as a whole, and then we'll do 2 topic calls on those certain things. So like tax time is always it's always tax talk. End of the year, always tax talk. If I feel like the guys are having management issues, we'll talk management. And as far as preparation, like I prepare what the calls are going to be about. And it's literally like a 10-minute thing beforehand because all we're doing is, hey, this is what we're doing in our business. this is what has been successful for us. This is the way that we do it. This is the way that other people have been successful doing this. Let's talk management for a second. So the leasing part. We've tried Rently. We've tried, there was another rent box solution company for us in Columbus, Ohio. It just doesn't work. We've got our guys in Phoenix. It works for them. It works out in that market. Here, it's like crickets. You know, for us, we want our typical leasing time to be 7 days or less. Um, with those rent boxes, it was like 30 days. So we go through like, hey, this is what worked for us. This is how we're currently doing things. This is how our VA, screens potential people. Here's our copy and paste responses on the leasing side. Take these, use them. So as far as preparation time, it doesn't, and I like it that way too, because I don't like to prepare a whole heck of a lot because I want to talk about real shit that we're actually doing in our business. And I like, and the guys know that too. Like I'll show them real numbers. This is how many leases we've done. This is gross profits. I have no problem sharing that stuff because it's authentic and it's real. Whereas a lot of other people, they got to be on this pedestal, especially in this educational space. You got to be on this pedestal, and everyone's got to, people have to think that everything's hunky dory in your business. I'm the polar opposite. I'm like, hey, dude, this is where we shit the bed last month. Don't run into this mistake. We tried this Section 8 program. It didn't work. Or hey, we were trying to flip in this neighborhood. This is where we got our ass kicked. But I think talking more like that and actually sharing real stuff, I just think it's important. I think more people should do that.
Do you find that
don't.
one of the things that I always had an issue with was my inherent desire to, I guess, please everybody that was in the group and sort of guide conversation. Do you find that it's a free-flowing conversation where you get really good info from the others on the call, or is it mostly just you sharing information that they consume?
Yeah. So every other call, like our community calls, which is every other week. Yeah. I mean, it's back and forth. It's talking, and I'm there as more so of a guide. And then when I feel like the calls, and this took me a while to try to understand too. Because you always have like that one person too that's like super negative, and then you got to bring it back and then talk about mindset. You're like, listen, man, I know you're not raising a lot of money right now, but hey, this is why we come to these calls, and you got to like bring it back and kind of center the call a little bit. And it's a skill set for sure. It took me a long time to kind of, I don't know, be somewhat decent at it, because you don't want one person running your call every time and just like asking every question and all that stuff. So.
But like one of the reasons why we do this podcast is so we can jump on and really learn from the guest who's on here. I'm learning. Jack's already learned quite a bit, but you know what I mean? Like
the whole point.
The whole point of it is so that we can learn from guys like you. And even if I jump on a call with guys that own 10 properties and they're experiencing problems that, maybe I'm beyond, it's good to get back to hearing those types of things, just to sharpen your pencil as well,
For sure. And dude, that's why we do. So the other thing I do is directly after that, I run my podcast. So from like 5 o'clock to however long it lasts. And I try to double up. So whatever guests we're bringing on, I'll try to have them double up and be a part of that call if I can, or if it's relevant. Because then I get to learn about that person, what's going well in their business. They can speak to the group. They can share what's going well with them. But yeah, I mean, the other cool part about it too is I think sometimes we forget what's really going on in the market. Like Jack with RIR, every time I come, we're just literally like focusing on like the weeds of the business, what's really going on the ground level. And unless you have those guys that are only doing 10 deals, maybe you just get so up in the clouds that you forget, like, man, this is what they're experiencing here. This is how wholesalers are feeling. This is the vibe. I mean, we talk about that a lot in our roundtable. I think it's vital, man. Keeps you grounded.
Ability, like, or do you, right? Like, do you, like, if someone just keeps showing up every month and isn't really like making progress, quote unquote, is that a problem, or do you try to like push people forward?
Yes, it's something I should definitely do a better job of. But my job's not to be a real estate Nazi either.
Not
Like,
the dad,
yeah. But sometimes you have to be dad in these groups. Like, we got one guy, for instance, that every call. Like he cannot keep his virtual assistants to save his life. And my VA is just so bad. I just want to be like, dude, you just got to be more of a person. Like, these are people too. You can't treat them like robots. Like, just be a human. Like, and they so bad one night. And so you have to like give shit in a shit talking friend kind of way. You're like, bro, like, dude, they're people too, bro. Just because they're in the Philippines don't mean they ain't people. Okay, they're actually better than you. Wink, wink. So you gotta, I don't know, you gotta like talk shit in your own way.
My father used to call it hugging and hitting, Jack. He would hug me but hit me at the same time. It's yeah.
But yeah, dude, I should do a much better job of accountability. But I should. I definitely should. And that's something we should probably actually, now that we're talking about it, that's something I'm gonna add in.
Get different perspective. You have different perspective. Like Craig and I did a year, whatever this was, years ago, 7-8 years ago. We were just friends, and we were like, hey, let's we should do like some coaching together. I felt like, hey, I feel like I've got a ton of knowledge, and like I've gone through so much pain with screwing everything up, right? Like made every mistake in the book. Like I really felt like we had like a mental model that we could, be like, hey, just do it this way. And but we'll explain to you why it's this way. And like, it had to be very market specific, right? And business model specific. But like we could like teach people how to get through deals. And I was always always a huge education guru hater, because I'm like, hey, they charge these people like $30,000, and then those people never do any fucking deals. And like, that just drives me crazy. Like I don't know, for some reason that just really like rings my bell. And so I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to prove that it can be done, right? Like I'm going to prove that you can take people who have just basic knowledge and explain to them how to do it and why we're doing it that way. And then walk them through some deals, and then they'll be able to do their own deals. And we set it up that it would be like, hey, we guarantee that you're going to do 3 deals, right? Like that's how strongly we feel about our ability to show you how to execute this correctly.
And not only that, Jack, we were also, they got the money back that they gave us by doing those deals. So it was, I think it was like 20 grand. But as we did those 3 deals, we gave them the 20 grand back and then split the profits after that. And so it was like you're going to learn, we're going to walk you hand in hand through 3 flips. By the end of the 3rd, you will have probably seen 99% of the problems that you would see with a standard single family flip. And you'll be able to do number 4 on your own. And in the process of doing the 3, you will have made a significant amount of money on the upside. So go ahead, Jack.
It's like, hey, this is bulletproof, right? Like this is the real way to do it. And then, Craig, I'll just speak for myself here. My experience was, one, coaching is not congruent with my personality whatsoever. Like I should nerd out on data and then get on a podcast and talk shop. That's probably a much better fit for my personality. And 2, the accountability thing, man, drove me fucking insane. Like I couldn't get, I don't know. And this is probably a personal weakness statement, right? I couldn't get people to do what they needed to do, right? Like I, for some reason, could not press the right buttons in the right order to explain to people how to take action and to just do what they needed to, to be consistent about their lead generation, to put in the work, right? And I felt like coming out of that experience, so after what it was to like a year and a half, I kind of was like, the market got really busy. Things got a little scary from a market point of view. And I was like, hey, Craig, dude, I need to tap out, boss. Here you go. They're in good hands. And he wrote it out with everybody. And I learned a lot about myself through that process. I learned a lot about the nature of, but also just the nature of other people, right? Like that people are different, and that accountability is a really hard thing from a coaching perspective and a teaching perspective, because people are so different. And at least for me, I was never really able to like unlock that accountability aspect of it. So I'm not suggesting, I wasn't suggesting that you need to have that as part of your program. I completely failed on that in that regard.
Dude, there's a couple things that came to mind as you were talking. Like, at least for me, like when I start paying attention, and someone that doesn't, I've never understood why someone would go to Fortune Builders or something and spend $35,000, and that would create pain for most people. And then that pain of that $35,000, you would think would motivate them.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, it just doesn't, man, you know? But yet, like my buddy Austin, for instance, I mean, he put his Fortune Builders on credit cards and he's like, oh shit, I got to pay this back. And that was like, and that motivated him, right? Um, but yeah, I mean, for, for a lot of people, man, unless there's like something you really, really, really want in life and if you're really comfortable with doing what you're doing, like you're never going to be successful anyway. Like there's got to be some level of discomfort in your life for you to want to pick up the phone and bang out those 10,000 calls, or, to show up the things that you don't want to show up to, or, do things you don't necessarily want to do. And it's a very difficult thing when people are comfortable.
Yeah.
I do. I want to wring people's necks sometime. I'm just like, dude, what do you, like, why are you not doing this? We talked about this last call. Like, just fucking pick up the phone, call everyone in your phone, text them that you have an investment opportunity. Do you know if anyone might be interested? That's all you got to do. Just send that text 50 times. Someone is going to loan you money.
It gets back to my point of this, your philosophy of who you want to work with. And I think one of the frustrations that Jack and me and even you, Terry, have found is that you want to kind of meet people where they are, but at the same time, they have to be in a place where that they're motivated, that they've been through the hurdles, some of the hurdles, and you can take them to that next level. When you take someone who's just seen HGTV, flip this house, flip that house, and they've got nothing but a dream and sort of none of the discipline or consistency that comes with having to fulfill a dream, it makes things really frustrating and difficult, especially for guys like Jack who have done it so many times, for you who have done it so many times. And that's why I think like RIR works so well for you and Fred, Jack, because you're surrounded by guys who not only you can help, but they also help you. They're at a level where you're also really learning a lot of great shit from them. And I think, Terry, that's when what, like, the kind of thing that you've put together really works, is when you surround yourself with a group of people that ultimately you're going to be learning a lot from as well. Not
Yeah.
some newbie with a dream,
Yeah.
No
like,
offense to the newbies out there. You got to start somewhere, but
you do, but like, it's just not, I'm not there, man. It's just something that I realize that like you have to say no to some shit in life. And you just like, I'm at a point, and I hate saying it, like, not that I'm better or anything like that. It's just, I don't want to work with newbies. I don't want to have those newbie conversations. It's like, I want to talk about higher level shit, stuff that is going to help me grow. That's, people I know that I'm going to be able to pull along, because how many people want to get started investing in real estate? There's a shit ton. The people that are actually going to, rise to the top, there's a select few. And like, you got to protect your mindset too. Like if you're having newbie conversations all the time, you're going to get worn out, and if it doesn't stimulate you, it's going to make you worse. Then you're going to be in a hole. And it's just, I don't know. I'm a huge believer in like protecting your mindset and just making sure you're having the right conversations, the right people, surrounding yourself. Like I drink that Kool-Aid, dude. Like you have to do that.
Is there any part of your vision for the group that you've built that ultimately there'll be a few guys who really rise to the top, and then at some point you might be doing deals with them? Or is this really just an information sort of back and forth?
Yeah. So like one of my goals, like I do transactional lending right now.
Mm-hmm.
And as I sell more and more real estate and become, I keep saying like when I become more passive in this business, but I know there's no such thing as passive income in this business. It never is. But, I would like to be more in the lending space, for instance, and if I can be, a lender for these guys, if they come up with a cool JV opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
or hey, whatever, like you just never know where the opportunities are going to come from.
No, you
But,
don't.
but if you have the right people around you, like, that you can immediately say yes or no, because you're not vetting the person, you're just vetting the deal. So I don't know, man. I think it's about just trying to find ways that work for you to surround yourself with the right people, protect your time, condense conversations, and then ultimately, they're going to get a lot of value out of it. You get value out. It's what I found works for me, man. It's not a large group. It's like 30 guys. I would like to get would like to get it to about 50 and probably keep it right there. And
Yeah.
that way it doesn't get too big and out of control. And dude, I'm an operator, man. I'm not a marketing guru. I don't want to be in the education space. I want to be in the real estate game. I want to be in the operator space. It's just, I like operating a business way more than I do this program. But I realize that, scalers only, the community is a big part of continuing to operate my business.
Good, Jack.
And towards that end, something that I've always admired that I think you do exceptionally well is your social media presence, bringing authenticity to your social media presence, and then being consistent about that. I think you guys do a phenomenal job of that.
Thanks, brother.
Like, how did you, like, walk me through the way you thought about, like, is it just you, like, hey, I'm just going to make a video, and you, like, organically just do that? Or is there, like, intentionality behind it? Like, is there, like, a program you have in mind? Was there, do you have a cadence that you're trying to set, different kinds of content that you're trying to get out there? Or, like, how, or is it just haphazard and you just, happen to be fucking awesome at it?
See, I think I fucking suck. I think I'm terrible. So yesterday when we filmed, so I just got my Range Rover back from the shop, right? And we were gonna go in the car and do filming in the car, and I was gonna talk, and well, my Range Rover died because it's a freaking Range Rover in the middle of the street. Had to get it towed, and we're like, I'm like, and it's starting to rain. I'm like, you got to be shitting me. So we went to some little dive bar. Walked in. I'm like, dude, can you turn this music down? I will tip you extremely well, but take Leonard Skinner off the radio. I have to film my content, and I've got 47 minutes to fucking do it. So that's what we did. And so what my videographer does is she comes up with all these different topics and then uses AI, and then our VA, she'll throw in more topics, and it's like a fucking dartboard, man. She's like, boom, what's your favorite restaurant in Columbus? And why is it your favorite? I'm like, all right, 3, 2, 1, go. And I just talk about it. She's like, nope, sucked. Next. And then next question. And because if I try to do it twice, it never comes out good. Like, I'm just going to keep stumbling, fumble fucking my words. And so we just go to the next thing, rapid fire. Boom. What do you think about the current rate environment right now? Okay, boom, here, current rate environment. Boom, boom, boom. And then if it sucks, we go on to the next thing. And we just do that for like an hour or two. And then all the content's in there. There's this huge smorgasbord of just shit. And then we use AI to figure out what are the best ones. And then out of those 20, we go and hand select like 7. And then that's
so are they like 2-minute hits, 5-minute hits? What do you do?
30-second hits. You want to 30-second
cool.
hits. That's it. And then that
What do
way
you
it's
mean?
something I don't have to think about it. And I don't have to prepare. Like, and it's just, hopefully it comes across authentic. Like, I'm not polished at all. I hope I don't come across as polished. I don't want to be something I'm not. And that was something I had to really think through, because you'll see guys like Hormozy and, Patrick Bet David, and they're just so articulate with their words and their mannerisms and all this shit. And you're like, yeah, that's not me. And every time I would try to be somebody else, I would get super nervous. I'm like crouching in and just like, dude,
I know, it's good. We'll just jump right back up.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Sorry about that, guys.
You use AI. Like, is that to generate the question list? You use AI? Like, hey, give me a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
Like, what is the AI prompt that you guys are using?
Shit. I want to say it's Opus.ai.
Okay.
I think so. I don't like to look up stuff. It's annoying to me. So I just text like my VA personal assistant. And I'm like, hey, can you get AI? Can you research AI? What AI is going to help you do your job? And then she'll figure it out. But no, Craig, I appreciate it, man. Like, truth be told, man, like I wear a hat not because I'm balding. I wear a hat because I get super freaking nervous. And if I do get nervous, and I'm taught, like, especially when I'm around people that are a lot smarter than me, and they're I don't know, you put them on this pedestal. I get this sweat thing here, and I'm like, dude, the hat's the only thing to cover it up. And like that, I'm honest about it.
Yeah.
Like I was talking in York, PA. There's a guy named Eric Brewer or Brewster or something like that. I'm not sure if you guys know him. Okay, cool.
Yep.
Hella smart guy, right? And I'm on stage and we're talking about hiring, and Eric is super like predictive index, and you got to run them through their disc profile, and you got to do this. And I'm on stage and I'm like, I'm just gonna be honest, guys. I don't do any of this shit. I do a small disc profile if I'm questionable about somebody, but if your initial gut feeling to somebody is bad, dude, that's not gonna change. Like if your initial feeling is gut, and okay,
Yeah.
your initial gut feeling is good, okay, then great. All right, then what have you done? And then just ask them some questions. Are you going to be able to live being around this person for the next, year or 2 years or however long their employment is? But anyways, I say I have to say this, like, he had all this stuff like super dialed in. My business is not like we have to be fluid. I need my leasing agent to be able to, go and make a customer service call, or I need her to be able to go pick stuff up in a property, or choose a paint color. Like we got to be multidimensional, especially in a small business. You can't just do one thing, but
Right.
anyways, I was on stage talking, and I was just like, I'm like, guys, this is the way I do things. Like I'm not standing up here and saying I got this great elaborate system, but this is what works for me.
Yeah. Regarding the hat, by the way, I sing in a band, and I have since I was about 13 years old. And same guys, 13 years, stopped when I was about 26, and then we took a 30-year vacation. 30 years, almost to the day, and I lost 90 pounds, got myself back in shape, thinking right, and I had this old stage monitor back in the day. It's a big speaker that points back at you so you can hear yourself. Somehow or other, that thing got saved in a garage for 30 years. It sat in a garage. I picked it up from the keyboard
Really?
player. We're all in our mid 50s now, and we decide we're going to get back on stage. Well, so we've all got those in-ear monitors that everybody uses now. But I
Yeah.
use that goddamn speaker that doesn't work, doesn't do a damn thing. It's a paperweight, and I use it to sit in front of me, Terry, because it's a security blanket. It's like that's my little space between like me and the audience. That is like, hey, this is my thing, this is your thing, and this is my little security. But they make fun of me. Everybody knows the damn thing is not doing a damn thing other than just sitting there for me, being my hat on my head like you do. So I get it.
Yeah. Dude, you're a
True
singer.
story.
We'll have to jam out sometime. I play drums in a band, and it's like my little outlet.
Well, you have to give me your email. I'll send you over some files that you can listen
Hell
to
yeah,
us in a
man.
garage. I think you'd be surprised at a bunch of 50-year-old guys at how good we are, but I digress.
Dude,
Yeah,
I,
they're
I
pretty good.
I love it, man.
So we got a few minutes left. It's been awesome talking with you. One of the things that you said earlier that sort of constantly rings true with me is the capital game. It's you had the friends, family, and fools when you started off. Then you met the community banks. Not a whole lot of them around these days. And then but now you've scaled this thing. And so how are you finding capital? What's your philosophy there on sort of making sure that you guys have the money to do the type of business that you want to do?
For sure. And initially, like, I'd never had like friends or family or fools. I wasn't even good enough to fool anybody in the beginning. But um, today, this is just the way that we do it. We raised a little bit. I probably out of I don't know, we probably got 24 million bucks in debt, total debt. Out of that, I would say 350,000 is investor debt, and that's
Mm-hmm.
it. I'm not a huge private money person. I want to go to the endless well. The other thing I hate about private money, and there's a place for all types of money, right? Like you need to raise private money. You need to have hard money relationships. You need to have community banking relationships. You need to have like, I used to have a guy I would call and I'm like, dude, I can't make payroll. I would have like 30 some $1,000s show up in a check from some Russian guy's name, and I knew that I had to pay it back in 2 Fridays, or else probably my head was gonna get chopped off. But you need to have
Right.
like all types of money, right? Like, but today, I'm a big proponent of hard money. Like I like the endless well. I like being able to go to a hard money lender and say, hey, got these 5 deals. This is the way we close it. I'm not trying to piecemeal every single deal. And if you're running with any type of volume, you gotta have the same lender. It's just way too
It's not
difficult to try
really.
to manage all these different conversations.
Yeah, it was more the equity side, right? And so if you're doing multiple deals a month, obviously there's the down. And
Yep.
so I think most of the people listening, it doesn't come down to, hey, can I go down, can I call Dominion and get a loan. It's how am I working the equity on this fifth deal that I've got this month, because I don't have an
Yep.
endless bucket of capital, right?
Yeah. I mean, you could use, I've used credit cards before. You can borrow it, put them in second position on the property. I don't recommend doing any more than two, first and a second on a property. That's where people get in trouble. You're borrowing 10 from Fred, you're borrowing 15 from Mildred down the street, and then it's too messy. Just find someone that's got 50 grand that's going to help you out with a deal or two. You could do
Mm-hmm.
that. For me now, like I said, like I started sucking equity out of my properties and leaving it sit so that way I can just keep rotating capital. So
Mm-hmm.
that way, if we need to fund something, it's just there, and I'm borrowing it at 6%. It's going into this deal. I know that I still own the stocks that are hopefully going up more than 6%. But that's just the way that I do it.
Keeping
And
it
then
simple.
yeah, keep it simple, man. And then on the back end, we used to use community. I was a huge proponent of community banks, especially when rates were in the fours. Because even on a 20-year at 4%, like that's great, and you're paying down a lot of debt. But now I'm doing all DSCR stuff. I'm doing all 30-year interest only because it's the only way we can make cash flow numbers work. But I think DSCR lenders are going to take out a lot of these banks because these banks just can't compete.
The 30-year DSCR, you doing interest only because it's the only way to make the DSCR really work, which I tend to
Yep.
agree with you with.
Yeah. And
But but you're not making any progress right there, right? Like what's your concern that you're just treading water, right? Because you're not paying principal down even. So and if what if rates don't come down? You're just sitting here treading water and working for the bank for the rest of your life.
so for me personally, I mean, I don't plan on holding any of these assets for the rest of my life. I plan on selling these things off, and um, I don't know. Like I like having like
Recycling.
I have some 15-year debt. I've got some 20-year debt, a lot of it. Some on 25s, and I've got some on 30, and I've got 30s with you guys. I think you guys did like 14 or 15 or so, and then I've got some 30 that are on interest only. So I would never tell anyone to go out and get all 30-year interest only. Like I like having staggered debt because it forces you to it kind of forces you to make sure that you're making money on your properties and you're making cash flow, but at the same time you don't want to drown yourself either. So I don't know. That's kind of my philosophy.
I didn't really think about the rental portfolio this way in the past, but I think that it's a fair way to think about it. Is I always just when I started the career young, I was always just predisposed to hey, I'm going to hold this for a very, very long time because I was young at the time, right? So it was easy to say when you're in your 20s.
Yeah. Yep.
But if you're in your 40s or 50s, a 30-year time frame becomes less relevant, right? You're like, dude,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? Like, oh, great, I'm going to do this so that I'm rich when I'm 82. Who gives a fuck, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to spend some of that money between now and then. So
Yeah.
but the idea of hey, finding an off-market deal so that you're into the property for less than it's worth, you think that it's going to continue to appreciate some, right? Like a little bit. And it ends up being kind of frankly like a store of wealth, right? Where you think hey, I've got 50 grand in equity in this thing. I'm not going to get taxed on that 50 grand. That's awesome, right? I'm already 40 points ahead. And then,
Mm-hmm.
versus flipping it. And then if it goes up 2-3% a year and I hold it for 7 years, great. I get to unlock that then $65,000 of value and only get taxed at capital gains. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a great way to run a rental portfolio. And then, like you said, just kind of stagger stuff out. You plan to harvest equity over time at capital gains rates. What's wrong
Yep.
with that? I like that
Nothing.
perspective.
The other thing, and this is just my personal opinion. And one of the things I like doing is nerding out on the macro, the economy, the markets, all that stuff. But if you look across the world, or even look at our own country, um, LA, New York, San Francisco, real estate's just permanently expensive. It is. It's permanently expensive. And, I'm seeing this happen right in front of my eyes here in Columbus. And it's dude, these things are going to make no sense as cash flow properties because the equity is going to far outweigh any bit of cash flow I'm going to get out of these things. And so for me, I'm just always looking at what is the best return of this capital or this equity at all times. And, if something, appreciates to 350,000, but my rent's 2 grand, I don't want to own that property if I got 100 grand sitting there. It makes no
You just
sense.
bought it at 350. You literally just bought it at 350
My,
without if you don't sell it.
yeah, like it makes no sense. So like if I can if I can make money elsewhere and make a higher return with less effort, why wouldn't I do that? So I don't know.
Well, we got a couple minutes left here. No, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
We got just a few minutes left here, man. And thank you for all your time today. Jack, you have anything else, or we'll just wrap it?
Enjoyed the conversation today. This is super fun. I always enjoy talking to you, and I'm looking forward to seeing you down. Oh yeah, you're going down to Miami, right? We get IMN.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll see you for sure on Monday, but I'm trying to sneak down on Sunday.
Had to jam that
Sounds
dagger.
good.
Had to jam the dagger in just a little bit further, Jack, because I won't be on the Miami trip, but as much as I'd like to be there, you gentlemen have fun. I'll be home working.
Oh, I will.
Terry, if folks want to get in touch with you, learn more about Scalers Only, if they want to find you on social media, if they want to see what you're doing over at Ohio Home, how do they find you? How do they get in touch?
Yeah, just it's Tarry with an A, Tarry Summers. If you misspell it, you spelled it correctly. You can go to at Terry Sums on Instagram, at Terry Summers on Facebook. You can email me, terry@ohiohome.com, whatever your preference is. But make sure to follow me. If you DM me, I will DM you back. You got questions about real estate, whatever. I'm a pretty open book, so let me know.
Man, thank you for your time. Thank you for your truth and authenticity. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. It's been such a pleasure to talk with you.
Back at
buddy.
That's this episode. We'll catch you on the next one. Real Investor Radio. We're out.